Yay, there we go. No, I know it's.
The house was just cold this morning and I thought it would be good. Yeah.
Well, we're going to start by laying down on our backs and taking some nice deep breaths. And today we are talking about practicing calm. So I know that we talk about this quite a bit in yoga, and part of it is because we need it. But a lot of times the way that we talk about regulating ourselves is from the top down. And so we kind of talk about ways that we reorient our brains, ways that we take on different perspectives, or ways that we change our thought processes, which then has a filtering effect down into our bodies. And today, what I would like to talk about, or for us to focus on, is from the bottom up. And so we're going to be talking about intentionally relaxing our bodies and ways to practice listening to the energy that is stored in our bodies and listening to the emotions that are expressed through our physical bodies in order to calm our brain. So we're kind of going the opposite direction today. So I would love for us to start again by taking a nice deep breath, just cleansing breath. And just do that a couple of times. And then think about slowing that breath down. And then we're going to start with a body scan, starting at our feet. So as you're laying down on your mat, you're just going to check in with your feet. Check in to see if there's, maybe if you want to wiggle your toes, you can, or roll your ankles or something like that. Or if you just want to, think about and sense, whatever things are in your feet there. If there's any tension, see if you can relax that. Maybe you want to bring your toes towards your body and then relax them down. And then we're going to move up the body to your lower legs. So thinking about your ankles, your shins, the backside of your calves as they rest on the mat. Just scanning your body, taking that time to make that mind-body connection. Checking in. If there's any tension, feel free to take a deep breath and see if you can relax that part of your body a little bit further. And then again, moving that scan up to your knees, all the tiny little muscles and tendons around your knees on the front side and on the back side. Again, taking those deep breaths to practice calm and to infuse that into your muscles. And then go ahead and move your attention up to your thighs and your hamstrings, to your hips, all four sides of them, right? Taking some deep breaths as you do. So many of our thoughts and emotions and actions are actually rooted in a deeper part of our brains and bodies that are not part of our conscious thinking process. So you've heard it termed the fight, flight, or freeze response, and that comes from a really deep part of our brains and our bodies that is subconscious. So what we're trying to do in this moment as we do a body scan is to bring that subconscious into the conscious. We can even think about our physiological responses as we talk about the way that we experience emotions. So again, you're gonna move up the body to the midsection. So thinking about relaxing your belly space, thinking about resting those sides, thinking about releasing any tension you might feel in your low back or your mid back area. Again, taking some deep breaths. And I'm gonna give us some phrases that we often use to talk about our emotions. But notice how many of these actually are rooted in our bodies, in our physical bodies. Maybe we say things like, so-and-so is a pain in the neck, right? Or so-and-so gives me a headache. Or this person makes me sick to my stomach. Or I've got a broken heart. Or he got cold feet, or she got cold feet. Or my heart is pounding with excitement. Or that sent a shiver down my spine. All of these are rooted in our physical bodies. So if we can draw attention to those parts of our physicality and then start to calm those things down, then we can sometimes, again, go from the bottom up and have an effect on our brains. So as you continue to move up the body with your body scan, think about relaxing your chest and opening up those lungs. Again, slowing your breathing down. Thinking about your arms and focusing on even your fingers if you want to, again, make a fist and then spread them out wide if that helps you to relax them. Drawing your attention to your forearms. And then up around your elbow, again on the back side and the inside of that elbow. Thinking about any tension you might feel. Relaxing your biceps and your triceps. Moving up into your shoulders. Again, releasing the tension you might feel on the back side of the shoulders. And then also on the front side. And then moving up and into your neck space. So the tops of your shoulders, kind of your trapezius muscles, as well as the base of your neck. Up into your jawline. Again, sensing any tension and seeing if you can relax that tension. Taking a few more cleansing breaths here. Thinking about relaxing your cheeks, about relaxing your temples, allowing that relaxation to spread through your eyebrows and into the center between your eyes and up into your forehead. And then finally relaxing your scalp and the crown of your head as well. Taking a few minutes here to just breathe. And then when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and take our feet to the mat. We're going to heel toe our feet out as wide as the mat if you can. And we're going to leave our feet where they are. And we're going to drop our knees off to one side. So you might notice that your knees don't touch the mat, and that's okay. Just go as far as feels comfortable to you. So depending on which side you went to, you'll feel a stretch in through your thigh, up through your hip flexor, and up into your side a little bit on one side. And then you'll feel on the inner thigh of the other leg a little bit of a stretch as well. And drawing those knees back to center. We're going to leave the feet again where they are, and then we're going to drop those knees off to the other side. Again, taking some deep breaths here. Just noticing what's happening with your body. When you're ready, we can go ahead and draw those knees back to center. We're going to heel toe those feet back together slightly so they're, again, hip width apart. And we're going to take our toes and reach them up toward the ceiling. Then float them back down to the mat and press the balls of the feet into the mat, raising your heels. And then go ahead and just go back and forth between those two positions. Breathing on one in and exhaling on the other. I'm going to be doing 3 or 4 of those sets. And then when you're ready, allowing those toes and your feet to float back down to the mat. We're going to heel toe our feet in a little bit closer together, taking the soles of the feet together as you allow the knees to drop down toward the mat. You can always take your hands to the outside of your thighs for support. And if this position is not comfortable for you, you can always come up to a seated position and do a wide open A and lean forward this way as an alternate position. We always have choices depending on how your body is feeling and what feels comfortable to you in your body. Again, taking a nice deep breath. We're going to go ahead and help those knees together using your hands on the outside of your thighs for support. We're going to leave our feet together here and see if you can draw your heels in toward your body, working your shoulders down away from your ears. We're going to do a legs together bridge here. Now, if you need to just start with a kind of a small motion here, just barely raise your hips up off of the mat. But if you feel like you've got a lot of energy today and this feels good, then go ahead and take that a little bit further, coming up into a full bridge pose with your feet together, knees together. Taking a nice deep breath, engaging that core. On your next exhale, go ahead and round down, drawing the knees in toward the chest. We're going to rock back and forth across that low back. And then returning to center, again, leaving the feet and the knees together, taking those back down to the mat, drawing those arms down alongside the body. Again, lifting those hips up off the mat, and then taking that position as far as feels comfortable to you. So if you want to push your hips up toward the ceiling a little further, feel free. If you just want to kind of hover those hips off of the mat, feel free. Again, you've got lots of options here. On your next exhale, go ahead and round down to the mat, drawing those knees into the chest, rocking back and forth across that low back. We're going to take that back to center, bringing our feet back down to the mat, and then heel toeing those feet back to hip width apart. We're going to take that right foot up toward the ceiling, drawing that in toward our chest just slightly. using your hands for support. And then folding that right ankle over top of the left knee, allowing the right knee to fall down toward the mat. If this is enough of a stretch, stay here. If you want to explore a little further, feel free to draw those legs in towards your chest for reclined pigeon pose. Taking some deep breaths. And then if you would like to, you can start to move those knees back and forth from side to side. Again, exploring the movement here. If you have your foot still on the mat, this is what that can look like. You're still moving your knees from side to side. You're just doing it with that foot anchored into the mat. So either way is totally fine. And drawing that back to center, and go ahead and release both feet back down to the mat. This time taking the left leg up toward the ceiling, drawing that in towards your chest slightly. You'll feel a nice stretch in your hamstring here. And then when you're ready, crossing that left ankle over top of the right knee, allowing the left knee to fall down and away toward the mat. If you would like, you can stay here or you can draw those legs in towards your chest for reclined pigeon on the other side. Checking in with your shoulders, seeing if they're bunched up around your ears or if you're holding tension there. Checking in with your belly. Are you holding any tension there? If you can, think about relaxing those areas. And then I'm going to invite you to a little bit of movement here. So again, moving your knees from side to side. It's nice and slow. You'll feel this in your hip. And then again, if you have your foot still on the mat, it looks like this. Still moving from side to side, nice and slow. Continuing to breathe as you do so. Then drawing that back to center, we're going to go ahead and release both feet down toward the mat. If you would like, you can either take one leg down to the mat at a time like this, or if you would like to return to the reclined bound ankle pose, you're going to bring the soles of your feet together once more, allow those knees to open up to either side. And here, we're going to simply take our chin and turn it all the way to one side. So I'm going to start on my left side. Stretching out the neck. Just doing it in more of a reclined pose. And then you can go ahead and return that back to center, taking it all the way to the other side. So looking all the way to the other side. Again, bringing that chin back to center. We're going to go ahead and bring our knees together for those of us who are in reclined bound ankle. We're going to bring the feet to the mat for those of us who have our legs out in a lengthened position. And we're going to roll to one side and gently push ourselves up into a seated position. Coming into a simple seated pose, we're going to sit nice and tall. Again, doing a little bit of a faster body scan this time, maybe this time starting at the crown of your head, thinking about now that you're in a different position, relaxing that crown and the scalp, relaxing your forehead, your temples, your cheeks, down into your jaw, relaxing your neck and shoulders, allowing that energy, that relaxing energy to just kind of pour over your body, thinking about how it moves down and through your body, kind of out your toes, or even down across your shoulders and down your arms and out your fingertips. And then here we're going to go ahead and tuck our chins, stretching out that neck, rolling one ear toward one shoulder. And then as we exhale, rolling back down to center. Inhaling and rolling the other ear toward the other shoulder. Exhaling and taking that chin back down to our chest. Go ahead and allow that head to slowly come up. Taking our palms to the mat in front of us, walking those hands forward. Continuing to breathe deeply here. Taking several deep breaths. So we're talking about, the bottom-up approach of accessing our brain through our bodies today. And so one way that we can do that is when we notice tension in our bodies, we simply lean into that area of tension, not resisting that tension, but maybe even exaggerating it a little bit and then consciously softening it. Go ahead and walk your hands back towards your body. Switch whichever leg is in front here. Again, putting our hands on the mat in front of us and then walking those hands forward. Again, doing that little body scan, seeking and searching and checking out, if there's tension in your body. When you find it, see if you can tense it just slightly and then relax it or soften it. It's amazing how small changes in our physical habits can create big changes in our brains. Even the act of just smiling can change our entire outlook on something. So when we're ready, we're going to walk our hands back to center. We're going to unfold those legs, one out to either side. Again, sitting nice and tall. You can place your hands on the mat in front of you and then start to slowly walk those hands forward. And relaxing. If you're feeling tension, focusing on that, seeing if you can use your breath to help soften that area. And then my encouragement in this pose is a lot of times our tendency in this pose is to kind of round down to protect our heart, right? The encouragement for today is to really open up that heart and that chest space and then to come down a little further. Keeping that heart open even in the midst of that tension. That's one of the hardest things to do, right? Keeping our hearts open in the midst of tension. When you're ready, you can walk those hands back towards center. I'm going to bring those feet together into our butterfly pose. We can bounce our knees here, sitting nice and tall, or you can lean forward using your elbows to help press those knees into the mat. Breathing deeply here. ready, we're gonna round ourselves up. We're gonna take that right leg and we're gonna sweep it out to the side so the top of the thigh comes down to the mat. And we're gonna turn to the side to face the short edge of our mat for our pigeon pose on the left side here. And you can either stay here sitting nice and tall, or you can lean forward over top of that bent knee. Again, continuing to breathe deeply here. When you're ready, we can go ahead and start to work ourselves up onto our palms if you're not already there. And we're gonna try something a little different today. So whichever knee is forward, you're gonna reach back with your opposite arm. And either you can stay here, or if you would like to try to bring that back leg up towards your hand, you can. And if you can grab it, you can go ahead and grab it and pull that in towards your body for a deeper stretch on your thigh. This is called king pigeon.
What?
King pigeon.
Not queen.
Not queen. Queen is actually deeper.
That's it.
Yeah. I can't do queen. So then when you're ready, we're gonna go ahead and release that back down to the mat. We're gonna go ahead and fold forward over top of that knee once more. Taking a few deep breaths here. And when you're ready, walking yourself back up onto those palms, sitting on that front hip, and then turning back toward the long edge of the mat. We're gonna once again take both legs out to either side. Working ourselves into a comfortable position, sitting nice and tall, placing our hands on the mat once more, opening up that chest, and then seeing if you can lean forward. You might notice that you don't go down quite as far if you're trying to open up your chest, and that's okay. It's not good or bad, it just is what it is. My encouragement here is this time to focus on your breath, kind of going down, filling up your low belly space, and then allowing that breath to kind of infill and come up, working up through your lungs, and then filling up that heart space. And then exhale. And let's do that again. Inhale all the way down to that deep belly space, allowing that breath to grow inside of you, filling up that heart space, and then exhale. This time we're gonna walk those hands back towards center, drawing the feet together again, or butterfly pose. Again, bouncing our knees, or folding forward and pressing our elbows in. And when you're ready, round up. This time, we're gonna take that left leg out to the side and turn the top of that thigh down toward the mat as we turn towards the short edge of the mat, coming into pigeon pose on the right side. And then walking down onto our elbows, bending over top of that front knee. Sometimes as we are checking in with our bodies, it is helpful to focus just on one area at a time, which is why the body scan is really a helpful tool, because sometimes we're so familiar with an emotion that it's all encompassing. It's like it floods our whole system and we can't even quite recognize how to process that emotion or allow it to move through our bodies until we break it down into kind of smaller pieces. When you're ready, we're gonna walk our hands back towards our bodies, Again, we're kind of sitting tall here with our palms firmly on the mat. This time, we're going to shift our weight slightly, again, reaching back with that opposite hand. And then if you can, you're bringing that foot towards your body. Sometimes one side wants to do it and the other side doesn't, and so if it doesn't, then you stay here. Taking a nice deep breath. And then releasing that foot down, releasing that arm back down to the mat. We're going to go ahead and fold forward over top of that front knee again. Checking in with your shoulders, but they're not bunched up around your ears again. Checking in with your breath, that it's still nice and slow and regulated. When you're ready, you can walk yourself back onto your palms, sitting onto that right hip, turning toward the long edge of the mat, extending both feet out to either side once more. And kind of adjusting if you need to, sitting nice and tall, and then placing your hands on the mat, opening up the heart, folding forward. Taking some deep breaths here. And walking your hands back to your center as you draw your feet in once more for butterfly pose. And then if you like, you can fold forward, pressing those knees down into the mat. When you're ready, we can go ahead and round ourselves up. This time, crossing our feet, and then pulling ourselves up onto all fours. Or getting to all fours, however else you would like. There's not a right or wrong here. And then here, we're going to go ahead and take our right foot, pressing it back behind us, bringing our leg parallel to the floor. We're going to leave both hands on the mat here for a moment as we exhale and bring our knee into our chest. And then as we inhale and extend that leg behind us. So let's go ahead and do 4 or 5 of those. Exhaling, knee to chest. Inhaling that heel back behind. Again, following your breath. Going at your own pace. And then once you've done the last one, go ahead and allow that knee to come back down to the mat. Switching sides, taking that left leg up behind. Keeping your hips parallel to the floor. And then exhaling, knee to chest. Inhaling that heel back out. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale that knee or that heel back out. And then just going at your own pace. Again, maybe 4 or 5 times. And then relaxing that knee down. We're going to bring our toes together, widen our knees as wide as the mat, shifting our hips back over top of our heels, sinking down into child's pose. There's some pretty incredible research that has been done about different emotions and where we hold that tension in the body. If you're interested in that, you can look up a book called The Body Keeps the Score. That's where that image is located. You can even just Google it online to look at it.
I lent my copy to somebody.
Oh, nice. You lent your copy to somebody else.
I have one.
That's so good. But it's fascinating to see where those emotions are held in our bodies. So when you're ready, we're going to press our palms into the mat, pulling ourselves back onto all fours, shifting those knees so that way they are underneath our hips. This time we're going to tuck our toes and we're going to start to shift our hips up toward the ceiling for downward facing dog. Now we haven't done one of these in a while. So if your knees need to stay bent, if your heels are off the mat, that's okay. Just do as much as you can. And if this doesn't feel good to you, you can always stay here in child's pose, or you can come down onto your elbows and lift your hips up like this into puppy dog pose. So take the version that feels best to you in your body. And then if you can, we're going to start to shift that weight to our left foot, drawing our right foot up toward the ceiling. I'm going to tuck my shirt here just a second. So drawing that right foot up toward the ceiling. And then we're going to do the same thing where we bend at the knee, exhale as we lean forward, bring our knee to chest, and then inhale, pushing back and drawing that heel up toward the ceiling. So again, exhale, knee to chest, shifting forward, and then inhale as we take that back. We're going to do that again 4 or 5 times, just at your own pace. And then go ahead and bring that foot back down. Bring back into our downward facing dog pose. We're going to shift forward and then bring our knees back down to the mat, taking our toes together, our knees as wide as the mat, shifting our hips back over our heels and stretching forward into child's pose once more. Again, breathing deeply here. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and press the palms into the mat, drawing ourselves up onto all fours once more, shifting those knees underneath our hips, tucking our toes, and starting to stretch those hips up toward the ceiling as we straighten our legs, coming back into downward facing dog. And here we're going to shift our weight to our right foot this time, taking our left foot up toward the ceiling for a 3-legged dog. And then as we exhale, we're going to shift forward, bringing that knee into chest. And then inhale that heel back up toward the ceiling. Again, going back and forth at your own pace. Maybe doing 4 or 5 of these if you're able. If not, just take a different pose that feels good in your body. And then when you're ready, we're going to sweep that leg back down to the mat, taking our knees back down to the mat, drawing our toes together, knees apart, shift the hips back over the heels, stretching forward into child's pose. Taking some deep breaths here. So here, if you would like, you can start to move your arms down in between your legs. So this is called, oh, I forget what this is called. This is a different version of child's pose, but you can take your arms down in between your legs It's a very kind of cocooned posture. Relaxing down into the mat. Maybe one more deep breath here. And then starting to work those arms out. Again, pulling ourselves up onto all fours once more. So here we're going to tuck our toes. And again, we're going to move into our downward facing dog pose. And again, if this is not accessible to you, feel free to come down onto your elbows, leaving your hips high and drawing your head down to the mat. We're puppy dog pose as an alternate. Here we're going to shift our weight to the left, taking that right foot up toward the sky. This time bending the knee, exhaling that knee into your chest. And then if you can, we're going to set that front foot between those two front hands. Or getting there however you can. So that's one version. If you are here in this version, you're going to simply move forward, taking your hands to the mat, and then step that foot forward, and then lift the back leg. So we're all here in a low lunge together. We're going to step that back foot in slightly, straightening that front leg, coming into triangle pose. Taking a nice deep breath. And then we're going to lift onto the ball of the back foot and turn to blade that back foot. So that means your back foot is perpendicular to your right foot. You're going to bend that front knee slightly, and then you're going to pinwheel those arms all the way up and into warrior two. And then we're going to straighten that front leg, drop the back arm, reaching up as we inhale, opening up the chest, dropping those shoulders down away from your ears, and then exhaling back into warrior two. This time we're going to turn toward the front, exhaling both arms out to either side. And then shifting our weight once more down into that low lunge, stepping that right foot back, coming back into our downward facing dog, dropping the knees, bringing the toes together, knees wide apart, and then sitting back into child's pose once more. So again, pulling ourselves up onto all fours, placing those knees underneath the hips, tucking the toes, lifting those hips up toward the ceiling. This time shifting our weight to the right foot, drawing that left foot up toward the ceiling. Exhaling that knee into chest. And then if you can, setting that left foot between the two front hands. Or again, getting to that low lunge, however is comfortable for you. So here we're going to step that back foot in slightly, straightening that front leg, coming into pyramid pose. Coming into triangle pose. Taking a nice deep breath. And again, we're going to lift our weight onto the ball of our back foot here, turning that back foot and setting the heel down. So we are now in perpendicular pose here for our feet. We're going to bend that front knee and then lift up into warrior two. Dropping that back arm, straightening the front leg, lifting that front arm. As we inhale, dropping the shoulders down away from your ears. Exhaling back down into warrior two. This time turning toward the front of the mat, extending your arms out to either side. And then exhaling all the way down into that lunge again. This time stepping back with your left foot, pushing yourself back into your downward facing dog, dropping the knees down, toes together, knees apart, and sitting back for child's pose. Taking some nice deep breaths here. So when you're ready, you can either stay here in child's pose, or you can pull yourself up onto all fours and then lower yourself down toward the mat onto your belly, bringing your arms down along the side of your body. And we're going to do another kind of body scanning exercise. So again, we talked about how small changes in our physical habits can create big changes in our brains. And one of the practices that we can try is to focus our mind on just one thing. So that might be our breathing, maybe a calming word that you repeat to yourself, maybe a soothing sound, or maybe an object directly in your gaze. Maybe it's a feeling or a sense that you have in your body in a particular location. But you're just going to explore that one thing. So if it's a word, maybe it's how the word sounds in your mind. Maybe the curve of each letter as you think about how it's spelled. If it's your breath, maybe you are focusing on the depth of your breath. Maybe exploring the edge of your lung capacity. Just focusing on that one thing. And this is actually where we're going to close our practice today. So if you would like, you can continue to focus on that one thing, whether it's a word or whether it's your breath or whether it's a sensation you're feeling in your body. We're going to take just a few minutes to allow our bodies to cool down, and then I'll bring us back together in a moment. When you're ready, you can start to bring your awareness back to this moment. You can open your eyes, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. If you would like, you can gently start to push yourself up into a seated position. Again, doing one of those little body scans, moving from the crown of your head down through your forehead and your temples, your cheekbones, your jawline, Feeling that energy kind of melt through your neck and shoulders, down your arms and out through the tips of your fingers. And then thinking about that energy, again, moving from your throat down through your chest, through your midsection, down your thighs and over your knees, and then out of your toes. And then let me pray for us as we close. God, we simply just say thank you. Thank you for these good bodies that you made for each of us. Would you continue to draw our attention to the ways that you've created us and to the signals that our bodies give us. We love you, and it's in your name we pray. Amen.